Hey, what's up friends, and welcome back to the Gentleman's Journey. Guys, in this one we're talking about the Earthing Harmonies grounding or earthing shoes. Now friends, we are over at Lake Murray State Park over here in Oklahoma. Check out these shoes. So friends, we are in nature and we're trying to harmonize. So here we go with the little bag. Comes with the little bag. And friends, the cutest thing about this is check out the little, I'm gonna go ahead and hang this on my Christmas tree. Got a little souvenir though. So friends, we're gonna dive into these, but quickly, I just wanna go through the nuts and bolts of them. So basically what it is a earthing shoe. Now, if you're not familiar, the idea is as humans, we're supposed to actually ground with the earth. So this shoe is designed to help you do that. One of the ways that they do that is by putting a copper rivet in the bottom. These things are made of natural materials, so they're leather, and friends, they mold to your foot. You get them basically without a sock, so that you have as least materials in between your foot, your body, and the earth. So guys, these things come in just over 150, like right around the 160 range. And friends, I'm gonna have a link in the description so you can make sure and check that out. But again, made over there in Turkey. It's a United States company, and friends, I've been thinking about these shoes for some time. There's a bunch of companies on the market, and I was so excited. I actually reached out to Earthing Harmony myself. I really liked their branding, what they're about, and essentially all their marketing worked on me because I became very interested. Again, if you guys are new here, this is the Gentleman's Journey, and I take you guys with me on my adventure toward becoming a better gentleman. And I think one of the best ways that we can become a better gentleman is by taking care of our own health. And so these things, we're gonna get into the scientific claims as we go through the video, but they're designed to help your health. Some of the ways they do that is they help with your sleep, they help with blood viscosity, they help with inflammation, and there's a whole list of other things that they do that we're gonna go into greater detail. Now, it's kind of like that airplane scenario. Put the oxygen mask on yourself before putting it on the person next to you. So if we're gonna be good gentlemen and we wanna take care of our wives, of our children, of all of our family, maybe our parents, if we're gonna be better at our job and perform well, we wanna make sure that we're focusing on our health. So guys, I've been on quite the health journey. I actually lost a bit of weight, so we can talk about that in a future video. But guys, I'm doing everything I can to be a good steward of this body that God gave me. You know, one of my favorite guys is a missionary, Jim Elliot. He said that he wanted to make sure that his body would never hinder him from spreading the gospel message. Now guys, he's one of the ones that died. If you've seen the Edge of the Spear, Tip of the Spear movie, he landed a plane in South America and ended up getting slaughtered by some of the natives. Later, that whole tribe came to know Jesus, but I just thought that's so powerful, and that's been kind of my motivation. So I always mix in my faith on this channel, guys. If you don't know, I'm a Christian and I'm a pastor. I went through seminary, do a lot of ministry, and so that's my focus. My aim is to be better physically, emotionally, spiritually. Just make sure and be accountable to this awesome life that God's given me, to make sure I'm taking care of my body. And I think Earthing Harmony is gonna help me get there. Now friends, full disclosure, you don't need shoes. Take your shoes off and go walk on this ground right here, right behind me. Walk down on the beach, get out and just walk around and start connecting with nature. That's the idea behind it. Now, whether you guys are sold out on that idea or not yet, remains to be seen. I think if you'll continue watching through this video, I'm gonna try my best to give you some more pointers and ideas and tips and tricks in terms of what all this earthing and grounding is about. Again, I'm relatively new to it. This is my first pair of earthing shoes, but the idea is ancient, friends. We've been walking around this earth barefoot for as long as we've been on the earth. So again, friends, I encourage you to hang back. But again, with the nuts and bolts, these are leather shoes. We're into leather on the channel, so I think they fit perfectly. Now, if you follow me on Instagram over at the Gentleman's Journey, you'll see that a long time ago, a couple months back, I posted that I was looking for some new moccasins. So I had a little post and I just blew through some of my Walmart ones. Well, I did in a pinch run out and buy some more Walmart moccasins. But for me, I think this is gonna be what I use as my moccasin. Now friends, I have a bunch of Pacific Northwest boots with a stacked leather heel, a really big midsole with a high arch and stuff like that. And that's not to say that those aren't necessary for when I'm working and doing that kind of stuff. But what I'm gonna use this for is kind of like a moccasin. That's all it is, friends, with the leather. It has the rivet there, but you know, I'm at a campsite now. I'm coming in and out of the camper. Maybe when I'm hanging out at camp, just enjoying myself, taking the dog on a walk. You know, the dumpster is just 50, 100 yards out that way. Maybe I wanna take the trash. And you know what? It's a perfect time to be grounding. When I go out and walk by the lake and stuff, perfect time to be grounding. So as you know, that we always do a 1-year review on this channel. So I think that's where I'm really gonna talk to you guys about what did I see. These things are brand new, just taken out of the box. I've had them on and stuff, but you know what? I think that 1-year review, we're gonna get into, did I notice any changes? Now something, you know, we won't go through my full health history, but I don't have any current issues that are major that I think I'm gonna see any big changes on. The only thing, because it talks a lot about improved sleep, is sometimes I get what they call restless leg syndrome or whatever. And so sometimes when I'm laying in bed, my mind is going crazy and stuff like that. So I have several businesses. I'm running this YouTube channel, got a lot going on, and I'm interested in that. So that's one thing I want to report back on. So make sure and hold me to that in the 1-year review. But guys, I think this would be really cool if you had some kind of diseases, if you were having, again, arthritis, if you had some of these, we'll get through some of the claims they make. If you had that for 160 bucks, I mean, you can try these shoes on for a year, 6 months, and see if you have any change. Reportedly, one of the things with arthritis, if you go out and stand for like 20-30 minutes, you'll notice change immediately. So they're able to test this. Again, you can get your multimeter out. You can stand on the ground with a set of shoes on with rubber soles and all and test yourself. And then you can stand barefoot or stand with these, plug it in to the ground again, and you can see the actual results immediately. So we won't do that today, but there's so many videos of people doing that. If you check back the Earthing Harmony website, they're gonna have that too. Again, I got a link, you guys can head over there, affiliate link, and that helps out the channel. But I think you know, in case I didn't mention it, Earthing Harmony sent these out to me for free. I like to tell you guys that, but again, I don't have any obligation to them or contract or anything. So I'm giving you guys my review. I would say something that, you know, if you like the channel, if you're getting to know me, I did reach out to them myself. So hopefully that means a little bit to you guys, because there's a bunch of companies out there that have these shoes and it's growing. So I could have reached out to a lot of folks and I didn't. It's not like I reached out to 6 of them and only these guys responded. They're the only ones I reached out to. Now, you might see other earthing shoes on the channel, especially if this takes off. If there's more interest, you know, we might go through more. But right off the hand, you know, these ones were really interesting to me. So friends, this company, I believe, was formed in 2020. The gentleman who formed it was actually struggling with some of these health issues, and so he created a product to meet his own needs, and then they're handmade in Turkey. So I think that's how some of the greatest products come to be. In fact, I got a couple in mind that I might try to pursue, because you find a need that you have and nobody's fixing that for you, so you go out and create it yourself. So that's a little bit about the company. In terms of how I typically do a boot review, looking at it top down, I start off, there's obviously no hardware, no laces we can talk about, but right into the leather. So the upper here is called the Brentwood. Then they have a charcoal black, a honey brown, a nubuck gray, and then this Brentwood brown, and then a beige brown. So a bunch of color options there, but it's all gonna be natural leather. And so I don't know if they're sourcing these materials in Turkey or not, but what they want is to have all natural materials through. So you're not gonna see any synthetics or weird fibers or anything like that. You're not going to see rubber in there. The outsole is natural buffalo leather, and the reason they did that is they say it's a little bit tougher, and of course you're going to be walking on that and putting a lot of miles down. Again, we'll come back for the 1-year review, and I plan on putting a bunch of miles on these. Then you have the copper rivet, and they say that's at the KD1 acupuncture point. So I've never been into that. I don't have any current plans of getting into that. I don't necessarily have anything against it off the top of my head, but I just don't know anything about acupuncture. So I suppose the rivet, you know, depending on your foot, you might want to get that bespoke if you're trying to get the exact precise, because I mean, I'm sure that's kind of a general area, and maybe that would change if you had a different size foot or something else going on. But at any rate, that's the thinking behind that. Now, something really cool about this company, and I hope to see it in the future, is they have grounding sheets, a grounding mat. Even if you have your keyboard and you're typing away, you can put your wrists down on a grounding pad, or you can put your feet, plant your feet down on a grounding pad inside the house. If you see your typical US plug-in, you got 2 prongs and a 3rd post in the bottom. You actually have a cord that goes into that post and it grounds out to the copper rod outside of your house, and you're actually grounding. If you don't have that for some reason, or if I'm here camping and you're in a tent or this or that, you can actually have a little wire that they give you. You can run it outside and actually sink it into the ground and ground right away. So I think for folks that have different medical things that aren't out walking around a lot, if they're not grounding at all, that would be great. But just for the average person, you know, reading online, it does leaps and bounds, especially for your sleep. And I think that's something that's just underrated right now. A lot of folks are all about the hustle and the grind. If you're on Instagram, you see all these big names. You gotta get up at this time, and you know, rich people don't make it by sleeping 8 hours a day, and you gotta be up before sunrise, and you gotta work and put in the time, and all that is true and all that's good. But if you're not taking care of yourself, I'm worried that as gentlemen, we could burn out. And sometimes when guys burn out, they crash, man. And when they crash, because guys like to do everything intense, we crash pretty hard. So if you could do something as simple as have some earthing shoes or a bed sheet that's gonna help you, I mean, you're doing work, you're putting in points towards your health while you're snoozing, and you might snooze a little easier. So make sure and check over and see their sheets as well. So friends, this shoe is basically flat foot design, so you're not gonna have any arch there. And again, talking about the Pacific Northwest work boots, there's a time and a place out working on a steep slope that you might want that heel and that arch, and you're working and getting it done. But what these are gonna do in the evening when you come home and relax, or maybe you wear these on the daily, is it doesn't have an arch, and that's gonna strengthen all your tendons and your ligaments, and it's gonna give you good back support. And there's a lot of science behind that as well. So again, it's not gonna have anything like that. They say if for some reason you really need that, you know, you could put maybe an arch in the middle, but just make sure you don't put a liner in there, because that's gonna do away with any of the whole grounding properties of the shoe. So they had a really good system on their website for you to figure out what size. Guys, I followed it to the T. I didn't go into their store or anything. I communicated back and forth on the back end with them. But really, I did it the exact same as you guys would. So they have sizes 6 through 15 with half sizes. They have men's, they have women's. Then they have a boot style that's a little bit taller with laces and stuff, again with all the colors. But essentially, you can trace out your foot and measure, and they want it to be a little bit like lean towards the smaller end, because it's gonna stretch, it's gonna fit a little bit, but you don't want your toes crunching, obviously. Whatever I did worked really good, just tracing out my foot just the way they tell you to. Measured it, I got a size 44. So friends, I'm 11 3/4 on one foot essentially, and then 12 on the other. On a Brannock device, I always call myself a 12, and that's done well for me. So I'm a 12 and I got a size 44, but they have a bunch of different sizes there. And of course they have returns and stuff, so you can get all that sorted out. But in terms of the break-in, you know, it's leather. And so we like leather on the channel, and you're gonna see this thing mold to your foot, especially in a different way than maybe some of our boots do. There are 2 layers, there's a liner, but ultimately it's leather. And so it's gonna mold to your foot. And I actually think it's gonna patina kind of well. Again, I told you guys I'm using this as my moccasin. Now it's a little bit sleeker, a little bit cleaner look. I would say fancier than a moccasin, but I still think I can pull it off. And again, friends, it's not something maybe I would wear to the supermarket, but I think a lot of folks just wear these on the daily. So I'll leave that up to you in your individual situation. But again, for me, it's kind of gonna be like that house slipper moccasin type idea. And it's really breathable because it's leather, so you don't have to worry about foot odor and stuff like that. You can go ahead and condition it like you would other boots. You know, it's a natural leather product. Just throw whatever conditioner you have on it. Guys, I think it's gonna take to anything from your cobbler's choice, Venetian shoe cream. You can put a lot of different conditioners on there. And just make sure, and like I say at the end of every video, give your boots some love from time to time. So keep an eye on them. If this is something you're wearing in the evenings on the daily, you know, you'll probably condition it a little more often than you would if you just wore it, you know, once or twice a week. So just keep an eye on that, and maybe if you guys are interested, we'll do a little bit of a cleaning video once I get these things all dirty. You know, I'm gonna probably stay away from a bunch of mud and stuff like that. They are, you know, water resistant, if you will, but just, I guess, use a little bit of common sense. I don't think you would want to be traipsing around out in the lake or out in the mud and stuff like that, but I'll leave that up to you guys as well. So I told you guys that this is going to be something that's going to get a little bit more technical and probably above my pay grade on some level. So I'm going to bring my computer in, and I just want to walk through a little bit of the website to get you guys started, and then you can head over there and go deeper. This is one of those topics that's, you know, somewhat controversial and something that you got to kind of sell yourself and learn about because it seems unnatural. But something I'm learning more and more every day is what you see mainstream and what you see society doing. Chances are you should probably go the opposite direction, because a lot of these companies nowadays don't have our best interests, and they don't have our health in any of their marketing. You know, isn't about health, it's about selling more and more shoes. And you know, whether it's shoes or kitchen utensils or household items, you know, a lot of folks are just putting out stuff that only lasts for a short period of time, and they don't necessarily have your health in mind. So as I dig deeper, friends, I'm finding that more companies like this, you know, they're only getting started because they're solving a health problem. And I think that so far, working with Earthing Harmony on the back end and learning a bit about them, they seem to have my best interests in mind. And so I was more than thrilled that they responded favorably when I reached out to them. All right, friends, so here we are over on their website. Again, grounding and earthing barefoot slip-on shoes. You guys can check out the differences between grounding and earthing and all the different nuances there, but the terms run together. All the different sizes we got here. Then here's that voltage test, and you guys can check that out for yourself if you have a multimeter and actually see it. But then they start getting into the whys, and I think they have some really neat graphs here that show that before and after that I was telling you guys about, just in a bit of time. That's going to help with all kinds of different health issues. But essentially, you know, you can do pain relieving, inflammation, anti-aging. Of course, the women are going to like that. I want to look good when I'm older too, right? Why do I want to look bad? So I'm doing things that are going to be good for my body, you know, 30, 40 years from now. But it's talking about rebalancing your body to stabilize it, taking stress. I mean, who of you guys out there don't want to get a little bit of stress out of your life? So if this idea of grounding and earthing is going to take some stress down, then you can focus on your kids, you can focus on other stuff. Reduces inflammation, eliminates body pain. Maybe you have a construction job, you come home beat up, you know, do a little bit of grounding, and then you can see if some of that pain actually goes away. Through working out and stuff, I've got rid of some back pain, but that would be interesting to see. Improves your glucose regulation, prevents calcium and bone density loss. Again, you guys can cruise through this on your own. It talks about the earth being a gigantic battery, so it's going to get into some of the science behind grounding. And then increase in illness. A lot of us have, you know, we have all these, 2024, we have the best medical care ever that we've ever had in history, but we still suffer from all these new diseases and all these sometimes self-inflicted things and whatnot. So it's going to go into that, how we've lost touch with the ground. And I just think that's naturally the way we've built up through industrial revolution forward. It's just a whole different world that we live in now. So the healthy benefits of grounding, it talks about some of the studies and some of the science that have gone before it. And then it talks about blood viscosity and how you can get, you know, your blood flowing. And I think of, like, my dad's had some stents put in and stuff like that. So I think of, you know, maybe some of these shoes for him, or maybe some grounding sheets could be really cool. So that's something where it'd be cool to, like, get him those sheets and then see what his doctor says in 6 months. This is stuff, you know, some of these claims that are made, what I like is a lot of us have issues going on that we can actually test and see 6 months later if anything came of it. So sync your internal clock for better sleep. This is something I've been looking at a lot, and currently I live such a wild life that it will be hard for me to actually make this happen. So a lot of folks work kind of a regular 9 to 5 and they have a schedule. Right now I travel full time and I have a crazy job. Sometimes I'm up till 1 and then sometimes I have to be up working the next morning at 8. So this is something that I'm interested in though, syncing your internal clock for better sleep and what time of the night, and with the, you know, with darkness coming at nighttime and what time you hit the REM cycle and that deep sleep is all interesting to me. So as I get into this deeper, you know, we might see more and more of that kind of stuff on the channel as well. And then, you know, it talks about this earthing movie. So you guys can go check that out. It's on the website. And then just the difference between regular shoes versus grounding shoes. And then again, friends, it has a wider toe box, so you get a little bit of room in there. And then of course it doesn't have toe spring and it doesn't have the arch in there. So they talk about breathable and natural materials, and then what kind of surfaces you can actually ground on. So this table here is gonna be concrete. We got a concrete pad where my RV's parked on, but then we're surrounded by just grass and dirt. So it's saying that earth, grass, concrete, stone, gravel, sand is all good for grounding. But if you're on the blacktop, the asphalt, and synthetic floors, something you might see in stores and stuff like that, that's not going to be any good. And then of course it goes into customer reviews. So friends, there's a lot of research for you guys to do, a bit of homework, but don't forget, we're going to have the link. You can head over to Earthing Harmony, check out a few different options there, check out the sheets. Maybe you're not ready for the shoes, but you can check out the sheets. I would encourage you, you know, if you're thinking, you know what, forget that, I'm just gonna go out and barefoot and get it done. You know, if that's you, by all means, but I would caution against some of these ideas of like, you know what, maybe I don't need that, I'll just do this and save some money, because for me, it's more about getting it done. So are you gonna go out more and get the result if you're wearing these shoes, or are you actually gonna go out barefoot? If you're someone who's actually gonna do it, then by all means, you know, I don't wanna get you guys to be spending money and opening your pocketbook on this channel. This thing is about my journey of becoming a better gentleman, and I think these are gonna help me, because contrary to actually getting out and doing it, putting in the time and being barefoot, I think I'm gonna get the results a lot more when I put these shoes on. I think I'll get out and take little hikes on dirt paths. They have some at this state park. I'll actually get out and do it for the 20 minutes or for 30 minutes or a little bit longer period of time than if I was to think I would just go out barefoot. I have been. I just got back from Florida. We're over here in Arkansas now. I was making sure, walking up and down the beaches every day. That was kind of easy for me. I did some trails barefoot, but I'll tell you what, friends, we're gonna get into this in 6 months to a year. You know what, hit me up on Instagram, ask me in the comments here. I'll tell you how it's going. And then a year from now, we'll get into the 1 year review. So I sure hope that if you guys have any questions, you know, make sure and ask me. And I have a good relationship with these guys, so if I can't answer it, I'll either guide you to the website or I'll hit them up in an email and try to answer anything for you guys. But let me know what you think. You know, is this all just crazy? Is it hippie? Has the gentleman's journey gone off a little too far? I don't think so, because you know what, guys, again, I'm totally interested in my health, and it's something for me that's cheap and reasonable. You can get into it and actually gauge it. I need things that are measurable. You've heard of SMART goals. You know, one of those things is the M is measurable. When you set a goal, it has to be measurable, and it actually has to be attainable. And so if I'm setting a health goal, if you're trying to lose weight, you can measure that. If you're trying to get rid of some inflammation, or if you got some blood clotting, or you need some blood viscosity stuff, trying to get better sleep, you can measure that. You know, you can actually use apps on your phone, start sleeping now and measure your sleep, and then go grounding, get some earth shoes, get some a mat or a set of sheets from them, and then see how you sleep. That's the cool thing is, you know what, we invest a lot of things in our life, to junk food, to all this stuff, all these little toys. You know, why not get a little bit of investment going towards your health? So that's what I'm doing over here at the channel, and I'm taking you guys with me. So I sure hope you guys are enjoying this. I'll tell you what, until the next video, God bless, and hey, don't forget to give your boots or your grounding shoes some love from time to time.